Psalm 133. Behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious ointment upon the head that ran down upon the beard, even Aaron's beard, that went down to the skirts of his garments, as the dew of Hermon, and as the dew that descended upon the mountains of Zion. For there the Lord commanded the blessing, even life forevermore.
For we live by faith, not by sight. We are confident, I say, and would prefer to be away from the body and at home with the Lord. So we make it our goal to please Him, whether we are at home in the body or away from it.
Someone's going to spend their eternity, but the Ten Commandments are clear: no other God before Christ. And there's a reason for that. And that's what God's word says, not me. And so, I don't know where a man's going to spend his eternity, but speaking to this topic here, there's been too many people to come from other countries, never even come to America, who have converted, and their nature, like the recently deceased Ravi Zacharias, born in India. And that's not a Christian country. Not.
Hello? What happened?
Look like he froze.
Bill, yeah, I think Bill's having some technical issues, but
yeah, because you know what happens is when you start talking about faith, that's what happened. The faith start to, hey, listen, faith is a slippery slope, man. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things, because everybody gonna say they right. You can't even debate it, because to me it's just an opinion, and it's somebody's personal belief.
That's exactly what Kevin was saying.
Is it even really worth debating? Like,
no, it's not.
So listen, the slippery slope is kind of where Billy was just going, right? Like, I get Billy, because it's funny. I respect that he follows his religion to the T. I'm not mad at that. That's exactly what he should do. But the 10 Commandments are your religion, our religion, I should say, right? Like that's us. And some other dude from some other religion will look at you and be like, yo, that's great. I'm glad you follow that. But, your God says put no other God before me, but my religion tells me to follow my God faithfully.
Religion is gangster, right? Because honestly, there's people that look at that stuff and that's why they behave. I do it because the hood told me that if you touch somebody's stuff, you might get snuffed or shot or stabbed. All of that stuff is common sense stuff. Like, you're not supposed to covet another man's wife or belongings or whatever. You should be humble in your existence, and if you want something, go work for it, hustle for it to get it. Honestly, it's almost like those things. Go ahead, say that again.
Thanks, Mark. I just want to caveat off a point that you made, and this is why Christianity. I know we're talking about other people's religion and their faith, but this is the unique thing about the Christian faith, right? Once you really understand it beyond a surface level, right? And we all get the surface level introduction. Like me, I was taught by both grandmothers. The one taught me the Lord's Prayer. Now I lay me down to sleep. The other one, our Father which art in heaven, not to be outdone, right? So, but that was surface level. Those were seeds that were planted. It wasn't until I was much older, right, that God says he's the one that chooses us according to Christian faith and reveals himself to us, right? So for me, when I was 14, I read a book by the name of Beyond Death's Door, right? Here I am, I'm a Christian. We didn't go to church or nothing like that, but I read this book called Beyond Death's Door, and it was about an atheist doctor, right, who was having, patients basically, have near-death experiences, and he was resuscitating them, but they were all coming back saying that, they saw a light or they saw things, and it started to become a pattern. So he said, you know what? I'm an atheist, but I'm gonna look into this. So he gave his testimony. He ended up becoming a Christian because the things that his patients were testifying to, they were all in line for the most part with what God had to say in the Bible regarding hell and the afterlife.
But it's faith. It's faith. Desperate situations, that's like when the woman lifts the car off of the kid, and people don't understand that wasn't God. That was a woman saw a child there, and we've all been in situations, being in the military and different things, where you did something and you didn't even know you was capable of it, and it was just in that moment. You know what I'm saying? Because there's, to counter that, there's people, and even me, like things that have happened. I felt like if there's a God, his blessing was that I woke up today. And the work that was done today was me. You know what I'm saying? If I turn around and I if we are thinking about the Lord in the same way, right? My work is my work. You know what I mean? So if I go out and I'm hustling real estate, or I'm hustling, checks, or doing whatever I'm doing, that's me doing that work. I see some people get into the religion to the point where they don't even actually have any work that they do. It's all the Lord. I'm like, why do you have these awards on your wall? Shouldn't it just say God or say Jehovah? Because basically nothing that you've accomplished, everything was accomplished through the Lord. And I'm like, no, I did that. I took the SAT and got a 1600. You know what I mean? So
let me jump on that. I don't want to lose sight of we're gonna jump right back to that point, but there was a point that was made about the 10 Commandments, right? Mm-hmm. And you know what? Can anybody tell me why the 10 Commandments were given? What's the understanding behind the 10 Commandments? Why were they given?
You want my opinion is control.
They were laws. They were called laws.
Control.
Why were they given?
Yeah, I don't see them as control. I just see them as basic rules for society.
Yeah, they were our laws. They were the laws for society.
But those basic rules are there to control. If everybody behaves and does exactly what's in there, then there's no murder, there's no stealing, there's no thieving. If you look at it, it's perfectly written in a way that it eliminates the easy things that us humans will naturally do because we're humans.
Well, okay, so that being said, the natural things that we do, right, it eliminates, right? But I'm going to tell you this.
If we follow that.
Right, if we follow, right. The purpose, right, according to Christian principle, right, and I'm the Christian principle guy, right? That's me. I'm going to be that guy, right? God says, right, according to Christian principle, the law was not given to really, keep us in line or, basically tell us what to do. It was given so it can be a reflection or put emphasis on the fact that we fall short. We fall short of keeping this standard, right? And that's and because we fall short of keeping this standard, guess what? We're in trouble now because there's a penalty for not keeping the standards of God.
Hold up,
right?
Hold up. If you're gonna tell it, Bush, tell it now. Because it was a guideline. That's basically what you're saying. It was a guideline.
It was a guideline, yes. But in addition to that, it was a mirror to the fact that we could not keep God's law.
Okay, now I'm with you, Bush. I'm not debating it. I'm with you.
Right.
And we, like you said, we fell short of that. But then that's
right.
now you talk about Exodus. Now you come.
Why is that important though? Why is that? It's important that the fact that we fall short. That's a very important concept.
We're not perfect, man.
We're not perfect, right? No. So that being said, according to Christian principle, we're not perfect, right? We fall short of God's standards.
It was only one perfect person that God created. We're not perfect.
Right. Now let me ask you. Let's tie that perfect person in.
Okay.
The reason why Christ came, right, is because we're not perfect, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, he came and gave his life for our sins to get us back right with God.
He paid.
I'm always gonna throw that wrench in there all the time. Perfect is an opinion, right? Perfect only involves the people that believe that set of rules, right? So you know what I mean. That's like outlaws. It is exactly what it was meant to be. You know, the perfect citizen during the Wild West days was the guys that, they listened to the rules and they obeyed the government. And then you had guys that said, listen, those are your rules. Those rules don't apply to me over here. So, even though the people that ran with those rules or whatever said, hey, listen, this is how it is. And to be a perfect citizen, you pay your bills, you do this, do that. There's people that don't agree with that. And they're going to live the way they want to live. And they had no problem with calling it outlaws. And honestly, even when I see these bikers riding around and stuff like that, we know where that came from. You know what I'm saying? He said he got to step out for a minute. He'll be back.
Okay.
Kevin. You know what I'm saying? So it's that's why I said religion is a slippery slope, because it basically, you know, is faith. It's opinion, you know. So we
again,
could sit here all night and we could discuss it and we could try to analyze it, but you know, you already said it best. Nobody's going to convince you otherwise. You know, there's no physical evidence except faith to back up anything you're saying. You know what I'm saying? Because like that doctor, right? The testimonies, well, we trust his testimonies, right? But those testimonies are, we've had testimonies that we found to be proven wrong 60 years later, right? Why is it that the books are sealed on JFK, right? Until everybody is dead. Then like 100 years before they unseal those documents. Why? I mean, does anybody need to read between the lines? We know
that's
why.
what. Hey, prior to you coming on here, Mark, we just talked about that, man, because I said we had the 7 Dead Sea Scrolls that they won't release. We had the book or the books of Judas that they won't release because it would basically rewrite or tell something that what we were taught. You know what I'm saying? And it would probably go against the things that we were taught. So therefore, with the society we have, a lot of people aren't ready for change because they, like you said, I know it this way and this is the way I know it to be.
Yeah,
regardless
think
if
about
they
it this
see
way.
right.
If we tie it into current events, again, this thing right here, America had a dirty secret. And this invention that was meant to make life more easier for all of us became America's undoing. Because now, think about it, we went to war. Could you imagine what one of these things actually does now? Back then, you know, there was a clip or two here and there. It was a snapshot of a photo or this, that, and other. Now you can film firefights. You can film atrocities being committed in other countries. Terrorists use it to film beheadings, to spread propaganda. You know, blacks are being killed in America. And people are acting like, oh, man, like this is something that's new. And it's like, no, this stuff been happening. You know, it was happening in the 70s. It was happening in the 60s. It was happening in the 80s. It's just that nobody had a big clunky Polaroid that they was going to pull out and film it when it was happening. You know, so America fell into its own trap. Our own technology became our undoing because we had to respond to Iran and the world and everybody that was saying, hold on, you guys are in everybody else's country and you're saying, hey, we're going to set up over here, tell you how to behave, this, that, and other. But we are watching what your law enforcement is doing. And I'm not saying that they all do it. I got family that's law enforcement. I was in the military, you know, and I didn't abuse my rank or anything like that. But the reality is that what's scary to me is how many times that black men or people in America have been sent to jail for things they did not commit. They were telling the truth. And this camera could have saved them. This phone could have saved them. You know, George Floyd we wouldn't even be going through this George Floyd situation if it wasn't for some 17-year-old girl standing there with a phone. You know, just imagine if that phone was not there. You know, if that phone wasn't there, that would have happened. He would have died. You know, it would have been like, oh, well, you know, he had something in the system, and he would have went on into a list of the unknowns, you know, and that's what people are failing to realize. It's not about what his criminal past was or anything like that. It's about exposing the misuse of power, you know what I'm saying, and mishandling situations. When I was in the military, we had an RE. You know, if you didn't obey the RE, you were in trouble. You know,
But, hey,
and we had,
what you said, though, man. Hey, Mark, man, I'm let's be real, man. It happens in the military, it happens in society. If you do something wrong, they're gonna pull up. They're gonna go back way back 20 years ago when you was first born to make you look bad, to justify what they did wrong, why they did what they did, even though they were wrong. You know, 20 years don't count for what's going on right now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But they're gonna go back 20 years to try to make you look bad for what you done. You know what I'm saying? To justify their killing or justify what they did was wrong. And that's our society.
Yeah, well, they do that with presidential candidates. They do it, you know, something I might have posted on Facebook today might affect a campaign run 20 years from now, and it'd be something completely useless. But you know, well, he's got to be a terrible person. But you know that, like a hypocrite of a society that we are, I'm in the real estate business. If we were to go look at your Facebook page and judge whether we're going to rent to you, regardless of that you can afford the apartment, but we, you know, well, that's a discrimination lawsuit. So it's like, it's weird how those things change depending on, you know, the way the society sees it. If a person moves into an apartment and they don't pay their rent, you know, they don't get arrested or anything like that. But if you go and steal a loaf of bread out of Walmart, well, now you're in jail. You know, the security guard stops you. You know, you're going to jail. You're going to be fingerprinted, charged. But somebody can actually not pay their rent and sit in your apartment by law and just hang out there until you file all kinds of paperwork and all kinds of craziness. And then when they leave, the most you can do is maybe garnish wages, or, you know, it's our freedoms and our laws. There's so many in place that they're countering each other, just like the Republicans and the Democrats. You know.
You know, Sean, listening to this and thinking about it more, you know, God gave us those laws for us to follow. You know, they're just simple, basic laws for humanity. And Scripture says the natural man cannot do these things, which is why he gave us his Spirit at Pentecost. And his Spirit is what brings us to him. And, you know, the natural man's going to continue to, you know, make the claims that, well, none of us are perfect. That's absolutely correct. But as Christians, we do have to at least try to uphold that image, or not the image, but actually live that walk. You know, do our best, like Jack or Pierre. I'm sorry, Pierre. What Pierre was saying, we have to do our best to be our best. You know, military. You know, be the best you can be, or be all that you can be.
Now, be all that they let you be.
And, you know, Mark was talking about it earlier. There's a lot of people out here who don't even try to do their part of it. When you're a Christian, you have your part to do, and God does his part. And there's Christians who don't even try to do their part. They leave it all up to God. And you know, I heard someone say once, if you want something from God and you ask him, don't be surprised if you wake up in the morning, there's a shovel beside your bed. I mean, you have to do your part too.
Yeah, I mean, you know what used to bother me, and even as a child, you see like family members and people were like deep in the religion. They were there every Sunday, beautiful suit and, you know, handkerchief and all of that, and then they were criminals all week. You know what I'm saying? And then I never understood that, and you see that even now. You see people that they go to, you know, everything is Jesus, this and that and other, and then, you know, once they get out of church, you know, it's back to, you know, just being terrible people, you know what I'm saying, all week long. And I really don't like the idea that anybody could be forgiven. Like, you could turn around and be a monster your whole life, and you telling me that at the last second, well, I'm checking out of here in 10 minutes, might as well go repent. You know what I mean? Like, that always.
But man, hey, everybody. Yeah, go ahead, Bill.
No. I agree with what you're about to say. It's not saying that I'm going to, you know, turn over a new leaf. It's actually doing it. It's all about the heart. It's not about what you say. You know, people.
Yeah, hey man, I guess if you know that you're gonna, you know, go on that ground and you might be maggot food, I might turn around and believe or become a true believer in my last 10 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying. I always thought that was real weird because, like I said, like, it's just like Tekashi 6ix9ine. You know, he was running around claiming he was a blood and he was this and he was that and he wasn't really that. And
Songbird.
Yeah, you see that? Look at this guy's legs.
Yeah, that's Sean's big legs.
Yeah, what are you trying to show us something, man? No, we don't need the bro love now, bro. But nah, you know what? It's just weird. It's like, so it's the same thing. I feel like if you do what you do and you're authentic, you got to keep it 100. I'm not saying you got to be 100% perfect, but you know.
Hey, but Mark, did you hear what you said? You said the key word is I feel. Those are your feelings. And we as people, we have to respect what you feel. That's what society, they so quick to tell you and I'm not trying to pick on this one religion, but Jehovah's Witness keep telling you, oh, our religion is the chosen religion, this and that. Society so quick to tell you what you should feel, what you should believe, but like you just said, how you feel. I have to respect what you say and how you feel. I'm not here to change your mind. I wouldn't be here to change your mind, but I have to respect that. You know what I'm saying? I have to respect that because to each is his own, man. We all have different opinions, different views, and like I said last time, it's okay to agree to disagree. You know, and that's okay, man.
Yeah,
you know, but I have to respect your views and your opinions because
that's why I call it a slippery slope. You know what I'm saying? I just call it a slippery slope. I mean, like I said, this market that I'm in is so toxic. I call it Chicago without the guns. You know what I mean? And real estate out here, if you're not putting in work, you know, you're gonna lose everything you got. I mean, you really have to hustle. So the thing is that when I put in that work, I gotta get credit for that. I'm like, I can't. You know, there's people that they haven't done anything because they keep saying the Lord did it, and frustrating. You know, but like Son Jack said, hey man, you know what? Like, you keep that over there, then. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm over here.
Some guy say Tory. Who's Tory?
Oh, that's
let's see. Exit
one of Sean's or his uncle.
Oh, he said it's not working. Something's not working. But yeah, I'm sorry, Mark. Go ahead, man.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was checking to see what the comments was. Yeah, I mean, I just, I feel like I put in the work. You know what I'm saying? So I get my blessing. You know, if the highest spirit is giving me the blessing to be here, that's enough. Everything that I have, I work for. I don't know. I've never seen it proven otherwise. People that hustle, you know, some get there shorter, some take longer to get there, but certain behaviors and actions and networking and different things lead to somewhere, and then certain things is a dead end. You know, just like street life, it's a dead end. Look at Chicago. Those guys, when they jump into that sad situation, life expectancy of those guys is 20 to 25 years old down there. If you make it to 30 years old and you still in that lifestyle, you limited. There's only a certain amount of time. So when you hop out and you get into something different or whatever, and you're gonna get a different result. But I just say religion is slippery slope, man. There's certain things I don't even discuss on my Facebook page. I never discuss religion. I normally don't discuss politics because, I got rabid liberals in my family. I got rabid Republicans in my family, and it is what it is. I'm just like, I'm gonna eat no matter who's in office. That's my own goal.
Yeah.
If whoever's in office, I'm gonna eat. You know what I mean? If the liberals is in office, I'm gonna pay higher taxes. I better hustle a little harder. Republicans is in office, I'm gonna get a couple breaks, get a couple extra properties, and just do what I need to do. I'm gonna eat regardless. I'm not gonna get stuck on nothing. I don't care who's in office. And you stay in your own lane.
Well, you have to be respectful. You do have to be respectful of one another, but what you were talking about there is true because they're only Christians in name, just in name.
Exactly.
And we have this problem in all religions. And look, there's nothing wrong with being a Muslim. I know Muslim people, but I am going to do my best to try to say, look, there's too much evidence for that there's not a God. There's too much evidence that, hey, look, there's a God here. And there's been too many people who have set out to disprove Christ to only come to the kingdom. And there's a reporter for Chicago. Speaking of Chicago, the Chicago Tribune, he used to work for the Tribune newspaper. He actually set out to disprove Christ because his wife had recently come to Christ, and he was going to do what a journalist did. He was going to disprove her. Well, he ended up making himself a believer because everything lined up. Everywhere he stepped, there Christ was. I mean, can you prove without 100% of beyond 100% of doubt that there is a God? Well, you can't prove 100%, but you can't disprove a God either.
Well, that's what I was going to question that. I'm like, I don't know. Sometimes I think some of that stuff is just placed. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just there. Like, whoever has the money and has the network, and that's like there's people that's in my news feed they have their own, you know, podcasts, or they have their own movement or whatever, and you know, and they put it out there for the masses to eat it up. But there's people that don't have those opportunities that actually might have a real message or something. You know what I'm saying? It's just like when Jordan was balling, there was a guy in Harlem that was nicer than him. Plenty of kids probably was nicer than him. You know what I mean? But did they have the same opportunities to put it out there? So sometimes I think when I hear about, you know, these guys or whatever, I'm like, yeah, but it's like reality TV show. Is it real or is it scripted? And then by putting reality in front of it, do we run with it and believe it and say that it is what it is? And then we find out, oh, it was a scandal. Was it this? Or was that? Didn't that happen to Duck Dynasty? Or something like that?
I never really watched it, so, you know.
But, you know, I just, you know what? I'm like, like I said, I get that Charlemagne the God type, you know, energy. I like to look at things and question it all, you know, and ask, was this perfectly placed here?
Well, see,
you know, it's just like if you make a video game, in order for it to be successful to the people that's going to play the game, there's certain things that you have to put in there, certain checks and balances, you know, and then Narvez, you know, and so it's just certain things that just have to be placed. And so when I hear that, like, some guy went out and he tried to disprove or find out if it's true or not, how do you do that? There's no physical evidence. So to me, I would never even entertain anything like that. You know, I would never entertain any type of investigation into something like that. It's a faith-driven thing. You know,
let me introduce y'all to somebody right now. This is I'm not gonna front. I'm gonna keep it 100%. It's kind of like a father figure to me right here. Okay, this is my uncle by relation, Torrey Narvaez. Right, grew up in the Bronx, New York, and again, you know, he kind of was a role model to me because my pops wasn't around. You know, so I used to kick it with him. He'd be like, "Get out of here, Sean. You know, let me hang out. Techno ball and all that, right? You still ducking me and Madden right now. I'm trying to find him on the sticks. And John Madden, get that Denver Bronco, Pittsburgh Steeler, you know, rivalry going. But you know, he's gonna end some insights. Tori, welcome to the brothers dwelling in unity.
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing?
Hey, what's going on? What's going on?
How you doing, brother?
What y'all talking about?
Native New Yorker fellas, y'all gonna love Tori.
We're in the slippery slope, man. We're talking about religion.
Okay.
Hey,
yeah,
Bush.
that's a slippery slope.
Hey,
all right.
Bush.
Slippery slope.
Hey, Bush, you need to come in, man, and give us our topics, man. Because Mark,
yeah.
Mark
killing me, man. I have been coming in, coaching football, run to the house, and then it's like
good points, man. Both Mark and Billy both make good points, man.
We you know, listen, this is the brothers dwelling in unity, right? And the whole point and intent of the program is that we're going to be able to talk about topics even though we have different perspectives, right? Because there's a commonality in place. A majority of us are veterans, right? Jack, you're a veteran. Mark, you're a vet.
Yeah.
We got that bond. We have a measure of faith. God says what? It only takes faith as small
as a mustard seed.
As a mustard seed in order to move mountains. You don't have to have enormous faith to be in the faith. That's the beauty of it, right? We can sit here and look at somebody who God has forgiven, right? And matter of fact, Mark, there's a parable, right, where God is saying, look, there's an owner, right, and he hires people out. One person gets hired at the 12th hour, right, or the first hour, and then he gets paid a certain wage. He has an issue with the person that came at the last hour, right, the 12th hour of a 12-hour shift. He's been working for 12 hours. He's getting paid the same wage as the guy that came you know, the last hour, and he got an issue with that. But that's the mercy and grace of God, right? God can forgive, you know, somebody at the last minute when they've been jack, you know, they've been messing up their whole life, right? He forgave the person at the beginning, you know, of their life when they were a young man at 14 years old, and then he forgives somebody who's 99 and did a whole lot.
Bush.